till I came here.
Tower of God. The ultimate test. Reach your way up to the top. You become a god. All your dreams will come true. Get to see the stars. See the sky. Rise to the top. Win above all else. Be the very best. Who doesn't want that? It's the greatest thing in the world. This anime was sick. It captivated me just by looking at the cover. I saw what drew my attention was the eyes. I am a sucker for eyes, and when I saw an anime, for me, I'm really picky. If the first episode's good, great, I'm sure the rest of it will be good. But I think above all else, like, more than popularity, more than word of mouth, if an anime, if the artwork looks good, I'm probably down for it. And this is one of the most beautiful animes I've like ever seen. I know that's a long stretch, that's a bold thing to say, but just from the cover alone, I had no idea what this was beforehand, and I watched it. It's like, dude, these people are gorgeous. Their eyes are so pretty. I cannot get enough of it. There's only one other anime I can think of on the top of my head that has really good eyes. Eyes are my favorite part of an anime, real people. There's just so much to look at, but the eyes itself, it's pretty corny, right? Like, oh, eyes, but here it's like, this is why eyes are so alluring, is because if they're drawn well, if they have that right color, that right shine, that gleam, that glint, glisten, that spark, that's so much for me. The whole time I watched this, I could not stop staring at them, looking into their eyes. And it doesn't really help that most shots that are in the show are literally just close-ups of their eyes. Like, they did such a good job at contrasting their eyes and the colors to the backgrounds, what colors those were. I mean, almost every single shot was from, here up. And I was blown away the entire time. Aside from the eyes, I know that's only one small part of it. This obviously is still a whole entire show here, There's what, 13 episodes? It's on Crunchyroll, on HBO Max. And I didn't even know it existed until not that a while ago, actually. And I don't regret it watching it at all. I watched the first episode, and to be honest, I wasn't fully pulled in. It was like, okay, everyone looks good, but is that all that this anime has to offer? Is everyone's gorgeous and pretty and just drop dead gorgeous, basically? And I can always appreciate an anime where that's kind of like their main focus is, hey, these are characters that are supposed to be like hot. Like, these aren't cartoons. This isn't real life. This is like, how hot can you make a drawn out character? A character in general, and it's gonna happen in an anime every single time. Some artwork in anime looks really bad. Here it looks good. But the first episode, I was like, you know what? This is just another Sword Art Online, get to the top of the tower, fight your way to the top, win this ultimate prize. Very typical. Um, and obviously, I'm not gonna give like really anything away. I mean, that's it. That's the premise. That's the plot or whatever. Is that people competing? You know, there's a love story in there. Sure, there's action. There are superpowers. There are skill sets. It's anime, you know. It's all. I hate to say it, but it is all kind of the same generally. Although, yeah, there's anime that sets itself apart from others tremendously, of course. Some big examples are already. I don't even need to say them. But for something like this, it's not. I wouldn't say it's the most popular. It's pretty. Unless you go looking for it, or word of mouth, I wouldn't expect a lot of people to find it. I mean, it's nothing like. It's not this triple A, grade A, S rank kind of move or series that's just out there. But if you do know about it, great. That's awesome. I'm really happy I actually came across it because now that I have it in my life, I wouldn't have it any other way. I can officially say that I've watched this and enjoyed it, sat through the whole thing. I was intrigued every minute. There was nothing to like not like at all. Except, okay, there's one girl, and you'll know who it is, that I just didn't like. I thought she was kind of nasty. But, everyone was really cool, everyone was really nice, it was all competitive, there was a deep message there, like, okay, hey, if you want to be the best, which is what we all want, you know, what's the difference between being independent, dependent? Are you able to fight your way to what you want the most in life by yourself? Are you gonna have to depend on other people to get there? What kind of alliances can you take with the right people? How are they gonna have your back? Are they gonna betray you? Very deep stuff, as you would expect, which anyone can relate to. But it had not only that deepness in it, but it also had very good comedy. It was really funny. There was literally sometimes, like, where it was funny, that's where it counted. They didn't overdo it. They kept a good pacing. I just have so many good things to say. The characters were pretty awesome. It would be, like, if that was you, literally, in this anime, I think someone out there can see themselves as someone in this, which is a good sign. You know, you could be a main character, you could be a side character, but either way, you're included. And you're part of something that's bigger than yourself. Even though it is all about yourself, ultimately, it's a pretty greedy, pretty selfish kind of thing, but it's a competition, it's a tournament, it's a championship. You know, sportsmanship, camaraderie, brotherhood, morale, it's all things that are here, but maybe not everyone has experienced firsthand. And this is a really good way to see, like, if you were doing this, how would it turn out? What would you be able to bring to the table? Obviously, this is a very extreme version of, you know, if you were in some sort of game show, it could be like an obstacle course show, it could be a trivia show, it could be, you're basically tested in just enough ways to where, obviously, if you make it to the top, you're worthy. Great. You might experience some love on the side, you might experience making friends you never thought you knew that you would have. And that's another thing, too, that made me think about, like, You know, what if I was someone that just kept to myself? How would things have ended up? If I did, the fact that you're able to team up with people at all is surprising. I mean, you either are or you aren't able to do that. There's a bunch of rules, gotta follow them. There's... It was just a good little anime. I mean, it wasn't like an adventure, like... And I'm a sucker for adventure. You know, where you see characters travel together, bond together, work on whatever it is that they're doing together. That's the kind of stuff I like. You can't really go wrong with that. You know, you get all kinds of different settings, a lot of variety, which is good. But here, it was so... There wasn't really a lot to go off of, which was kind of nice because it made you really, like, immerse yourself and be like, hey, this is where I'm at, these are the people I'm around, and that's it. That's my life for the next month or whatever, however long this kind of happened. It was just its own world, and I like that it didn't go out of its way too much, even though it's something called the Tower of God. Like, that's a pretty heavy title. And between the title and how beautiful everyone is, and how powerful one person can be, it's an anime that just all kind of came together and made sense. Like, it wasn't just some random thing that was put out there. It actually had some structure to it. It was really good, and you're not forced to watch too much of it. There's only the 13 episodes, which is average. Those are really the best shows, the ones that are nice and short and sweet, and you kind of get to just experience it and then call it good. And you know, it really makes you think about it makes you sit there and think about it a little bit after the show, like, you know, of yourself, your standards, your humanity, really. And that was a cool message. I think sometimes, depending on where your life is, a certain anime can really kind of speak to you and give you the message that you want to hear. And it can be there for you and tell you what you want and kind of guide you along this path that we're all on. And I haven't been able to sit down and watch an anime for a while, and I'm out of... That's not entirely true, but this one, it was so nice to, like, just lay down and watch something that took me away. Takes me to another world. You know, I could relate to the main character. I could relate to anyone if I really wanted to. You might be able to see yourself in either one character, or maybe all of them, really. And it was just good. That's basically about it. One thing that caught my attention later on, let's just say, was the goddamn music. Whew. I tried to look it up. It's really hard to find, though. And obviously, like, you know, I can try again and commit more time to looking around, but I'm guaranteed well, I looked up the composers, and that didn't match up like I was expecting. However, the music, specifically, versus the composer, it sounded a lot like Ghost in the Shell. That song at the end, I'm not even gonna attempt it because I'm gonna do really bad at it, but it's very Ghost in the Shell, that kind of choir sound. It's Tower of God, so it's gonna have epic music in it, which is fine. I expected that, but the music was literally just... I don't know enough about this group. I've looked up videos, obviously, and there's been remixes from Steve Aoki, the Ghost in the Shell ending theme. Whether you're talking the anime movie, there's two different versions of the anime movie, or the live action that came out a while ago, Scarlett Johansson. And obviously I keep forgetting the name of it. I even found it on SoundCloud. And I'm not sure if it's the original version, obviously, but it's a thing that exists. And it's one of those music groups slash songs slash sound. Total Japanese. I just don't know enough about it, and it bothers me because it sounds so cool and so good that I wish I knew more. And I'm willing to learn in the future, obviously. But that same music, I know for a fact, was in here. I couldn't find anything that matched up exactly. Because unless you get really specific with your wording and what you're typing in, you're really not going to find a whole lot. But, that music surprised me. I was like, dude, I'm eating this up. Like, how much more can you make me like this show? Seriously, it kind of bothers you to a point, because you're like, oh, you struck gold. Stop digging. You know, like, relax, fine, chill. I love it. What more do you want from me? You know, like, how much more am I gonna be able to like the show? I just don't get it. Aside from that girl that I don't like, there are some bad things. I'm not gonna say it's perfect anime. I don't think there's such a thing, really, but I mean, there's not a lot that bothered me because there wasn't a lot to be bothered by, but my mind couldn't really wrap around, like, around the things that they were doing. You either have to really pay attention or, like, and follow along, or maybe it just didn't make any sense at all. I don't know. But some of it just got me real lost. Like, what are they doing? And they got so specific with so many things, which I'm used to, but I'm definitely a casual watcher. I like to sit back, relax, chill, enjoy it, have a good time. That's all I could ask for. And here it's like, the more I tried to think about what was actually happening, my head just started to hurt. But that doesn't mean that it ruined it for me or something. Like, you're not thinking time travel, you're not thinking, like, super psychological, something that's not too much, because, you know, they can push it that way sometimes, I realize that. But here they kept it just simple enough to kind of, you know, stick with the groove, but you're not sitting there, like, too overwhelmed. So, for me, it worked out very well. Because I still got to like it for what it was, and I didn't have to go too far out of my way to, like, understand it. There's a cool logo that they got, the 3-eye thing on eyes. I don't know what's up with me and eyes. I've always liked eyes. Out of, like, every human feature, eyes are just weird. Even watching this show alone, you're like, yeah, they got their face, their hair, blah blah blah, but their eyes, I could not stop looking into. It's like looking at diamonds and jewels and pearls, and it was amazing. I don't know much about the studio that made this. I don't even really watch Crunchyroll a lot. Not a lot of Crunchyroll. I was always a Funimation kind of guy, but yeah. I watched it in English. I watched everything in English. It's just how it is. And it was great. I didn't recognize too many of the voice actors. I only recognized one. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised I didn't recognize more, but that's kind of a good thing too because I mean, I don't mind new voices. Or maybe I've heard them before, but I just don't know enough about them. They're not like that top elite, English dub anime voice actors or whatever, but it was fine. It's always going to sound good. Very characteristic, very special, very unique. Everyone, when someone's talking, you know exactly who it is. If I watched that show blind, I would have a pretty good idea of what's going on. That's why I love English anime, but that's another thing. That's another subject. Yeah, I watched it in English, which on Crunchyroll was surprising because, when I think of Crunchyroll, I think of subbed anime. Because they're not nearly as, dubby as Funimation is, and I realize, those are the two leading anime holders for a reason, is because Crunchyroll mostly is subbed and Funimation is mostly dubbed. That's just how it's always been. And I was pretty thankful it came in English, because if it was subbed, I might have not even watched it, because my sensory, my eyes, my ears, my senses, they all have to be on fire for me to enjoy the show. Like, draw my eyes in, make me not stop, distract me enough to where I can pay attention. And what I'm listening to, let me understand everything. Let me clearly enjoy this as much as possible, because anime is it's very binge-worthy, it's a caliber all of its own, and I need it to hold me and grasp me as tightly as possible. And that's what it did. That's what the whole show did. And I'm thankful that I watched it. It's one of those animes where you watch it, you have a good time, but you move on. You're not stuck, you're not committed watching a long series. You don't have to think too much about it. Go on with your day. Maybe it gave you some inspiration to watch more anime, or just to be in a good mood, or kind of really hit that spot that you might have been fixing for a while. And it did that. I want more of it. I don't know if there's gonna be any more. It didn't look promising for there to be more. Which is a shame, but I think for what it was, it's kind of like Silent Hill. Like, hey, they're not doing anything with that at all, but they left it in like a nice glass case to keep its legend, to keep it whatever it became, and just leave it there, have it exist. And for those who are lucky enough to find it, great. It's gonna be a good old time. Yeah, the music was good, the characters, the artwork. The artwork is very bold. One thing I noticed, they did a really nice job with their lining. It wasn't super thin, but it wasn't super thick like an older anime either. It was kind of like this weird, you couldn't really tell what time era it was from. Like, obviously it's newer, but it could have been an early 2000s anime easily or something. Because they did a good job of mixing the artwork to where it was like a nice medium line. It wasn't thin like it's brand new, but it wasn't thick like it's old either. It's kind of like this nice medium. Lining is very important, okay? So yeah, music, lining, characters. A little bit more about the characters. I mean, they're all very memorable. They all have their place that they needed to have. Um, I don't know. There's not much else to say about it other than it was just really good. And it's one of those that you're only getting 13 episodes out of. You're not getting Naruto type stuff like Full Metal Alchemist, Fairy Tail, those really long running seasons that just don't really seem like they end. This was like a nice. It's like watching a movie, you know? Like, you just watch it, you get what you want out of it, and you're good. But it is one of those that you're gonna have to watch for yourself to enjoy. Because a lot of animes are very different, and I think this one gets straight to the point, you know, like, hey, if you like action, we got it. If you like love, we got it. If you like a small cast of characters, we got it. If you like basically one setting throughout the entire show, we got that. Just very hits that part in your brain, that G spot, where it's just like, here you go, thank you, bye. So yeah, yes, that's Tower of God, the ultimate anime action, love, suspense, thrills, excitement. It's all there. Yep.